In 2020, Barna Research came out with several staggering statistics that not only blew my mind, became a part of what I felt God was telling me, you have to warn the church. This must be a warning. I feel like God is going to hold those that are not ignorant to this accountable in a way that he has not for others. We are held to a higher standard as self-proclaimed leaders of the church. Other people's lives depend on us not opening portals into making sure that our churches are sanctified and purified by the blood of Christ, and to have oiled the doorknobs and to cast out spirits and make a place safe for the Holy Spirit to come in and move amongst the people and stir and interrupt and take control over the service. Does that make sense? When you are ignorantly, even by ignorance, clicking on video that directly fuels the paid-for demand for sex with children, whether you knew that's what you were doing or not, by raising this ravenous appetite that is completely unsatiable, you need to know that God is taking inventory of who is on that team. This is something I feel God put on me to share, especially with the leaders of the church. So, Kyle, if leaders of the church were secretly involved in porn, how bad would it be? And I remember I asked you this a year ago. How bad would it be? I'm going to skip the ruse. We're not going to do the ruse because I've gone really long on some of this, and we're going to go straight to the reveal. Barna Research reveals that 57% in the United States of our senior pastors admit to have been involved in porn regularly at some point, if not currently. 64% of the youth pastors. So it gets much worse when you get into the youth pastors. And think about that. Think about that.
Wow.
You want your 12-year-old daughter under the leader of maybe a late 20s to early 30-year-old man who is telling you that God has commissioned him to be there and he's the steward of the youth in that church? 64% of our youth pastors have admitted to regular pornography use, either currently or in the past. And if you were thinking just now, well, Joe, okay, but that opens a big caveat. In the past could mean anyone that has struggled with this. What does it look like today? The average is about 20% total minimum. 20% total minimum. So 1 to 2 out of every 10 pastors. And you got to realize that these polls that they do, when they're putting together these case studies and they're participating with people, many of them on screens or using their cell phones to answer these questions, there are several, and I outline this in the book Innocence Shatter, there are several reasons why a person might, even during the midst of a poll, amend their answer. A personal conviction, or they decide that suddenly Big Brother is watching. People are paranoid and they have no idea how technology works. They think somebody's going to leak the fact that they were a part of a poll, so they back out. Some people will fudge their answers and kind of soften the reality of what's going on because of the ministry-ending shame associated with saying, hey, I'm a pastor and I'm a porn addict. So there's lots of ways that people kind of dial back their answers even in the middle of a poll. Less than 1% of the same pastors that admitted to being currently porn addicts even recommend telling their church. Less than 1%.